Now let me be honest with you. You do not need a tinfoil hat because this is not a conspiracy theory. It is a fact. You have been programmed to be poor for thousands of years. It started with your ancestors. There are three main evil money belief systems that have been programmed into you by the most powerful people in the world. They're destroying your financial life. I'm going to explain what they are and how you can finally break free financially. Now, the year is 1971 at Stanford University. You and I have a time machine. Like sometimes with my daughter, I pretend that when you turn the hot water on in the bathtub, it's really a time machine that takes you in another dimension. So let's pretend, we're not in the bathtub together, but let's pretend that your bathtub is a time machine. And it's 1971, Stanford University. We're in the basement of the psychology building. Why are we in the basement? Because they're doing one of the most famous studies that actually was ever conducted. Now, the psychology professors took 24 students from Stanford and they divided them into groups. One group was to play the prison guards and one group was to play inmates. Now, this was a 2-week experiment where they held them in the basement building a mock prison situation. And they ended up having to cut the experiment short after only 6 days. Because once people got into the character of a prison scenario, the prison guards got so out of control, the students, that they were subjecting people to such cruel and dehumanizing behavior. The professors got worried and they had to stop the experiment. Now, from this Stanford research, one of the most important lessons of human history was drawn. A small group of people will always attempt to control the majority of people. It's innate in human psychology. This is a lesson that actually goes all through human history. Go back to 2,000 years ago, the year 55 AD, when the Roman Empire began to show signs of collapsing. You see, back in the day, Rome used gold and silver as money. In those days, a coin was 99% pure silver, and there was a fixed amount of coins legally allowed in circulation, which limited inflation. And this bothered the ruling elites because they wanted infinite money and they wanted infinite power and control because it's built into humans. In fact, Caracalla, the emperor of Rome in 210 AD said, "Nobody should have money but I." And as a result, Roman elites began debasing the coinage. Basically, when the 99% silver coins came in, they would clip off the ends of the coins, take that silver, and then remelt it down with cheaper metals and send it back out into the unknowing population. They'd melt that down and enrich themselves. By the year 265 AD, the purity of the silver coin was down to 0.5% from 99% purity. Now, when the population discovered what was happening, it was the final straw that collapsed the Roman Empire. Now, you might be wondering what the heck does that have to do with anything? The point of this story is the same as the Stanford University experiments. People will do whatever it takes to have total control and power, even if it means keeping the masses poor and struggling financially. Now, you can go all throughout history. The religious structures and churches did the same thing many thousands of years ago. Churches, these mysterious financial powers of the world, for thousands of years, they told everyone, you can't get to heaven if you don't give us 10 to 20% of your income because money is evil and bad and we need it. We stayed poor and they got rich and they got very powerful. The sad truth of human history is that the rich and powerful have always attempted to keep you poor. That Stanford University experiment proves there is an innate desire within many human beings to control the masses by any means necessary in order for the people to maintain their control, they've attempted to keep us poor. Poor. That's their goal. Because that's how you get power. So to do that, they instilled certain beliefs and ideas into the masses over thousands of years to maintain that control. And I spent countless hours studying history and ancient civilizations, and I found there's 3 main evil and pervasive money beliefs that they've programmed into you and I for thousands of years. These 3 main beliefs are ones that you've been told and our ancestors have been told since the dawn of time, designed to keep you poor. Now you might be wondering, Jake, what the heck are these 3? And the first evil belief that's been installed into your mind and our ancestors' minds for thousands of years is that money is evil. Money is bad, wealth is wrong. Do not have wealth. It's only for us elites, right? They've told us that God hates wealthy people, money is bad, money's unholy, wealth is bad, wealth is wrong, you shouldn't want it. If you want salvation in heaven and you want God to love you, then essentially you need to look down upon money. But think about it. If you view anything that way, whether it's money or anything else, are you going to be subconsciously programmed to have it? Of course you're not. Which is why this is such an evil and insidious belief system that's been programmed into you. And this is why you might not have the money you want. Now just think about it. If they can get you to believe this, then they're going to control all the wealth, and you're going to become a willing slave, believing that possessing wealth will make you bad. Recognize you've been conditioned this way, and it's keeping you stuck financially. Now, the famous Carl Jung used to say, make the unconscious conscious, and you will be free of it. So now that you see that you've been programmed to believe that money is evil, money's bad, money's wrong, it's not unconscious anymore. So I invite you to now consciously choose to view it as your divine right to get rich. Money is good. Abundance is good. It's holy. It's God wanting the abundance through you. And this leads us into the second deadly belief that you've been programmed with, that you can choose money or happiness. But you can't have both of them. You can't have both. You can be happy or have money. And if you think about it, you've been programmed with a binary choice about success. You can only have joy in life or success. It's money or it's happiness. It's money or it's spirituality. But here's the thing. Who says that you can't have both? It's just the illusions in your mind that have been programmed intentionally. In the book, The Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, he said he went from broke to rich once he realized one simple thing. Poor people and financially average people have been programmed to think either or. They have an either or mindset. You can have wealth or be happy. Money isn't that important. At least I'm happy. You know, I can't pay for my dentist bill, but I'm happy. And you can have money or you can be a swine pig, right? Like that's the way that we've been programmed. But here's the thing. The elites and the financially independent, they don't think that way. Instead, they ask, why not both? Why not both? Is it possible to have wealth and be happy? Why can't I be happy and have wealth? Can I be spiritual and rich? Why can't I have a lot of financial freedom and also love God and have a personal relationship with my own higher power? Why not? I invite you to choose that instead. Now, before we move on to the third evil way that we've been programmed, you might be watching this and thinking like, holy crap, I have been programmed with all these negative ideas about money. I can see why it hasn't come to me. So first of all, I want to say, recognize it's not your fault. It's just the way that you've been programmed. And then secondly, once you realize it, what's very important is to take deliberate action to reprogram it. One of the things that I did was take advantage of sleep. Now there's a lot of science behind it. We won't get into it in this video because the videos get too long. But before you're falling asleep, your conscious mind shuts off and your brainwave states slow down. And when your brainwave states slow down, you move into a mind state similar to hypnosis, which gives you direct access to your subconscious mind to reprogram it. And so what I started doing once I realized I had all these crappy beliefs is I started inserting new beliefs and ideas into my subconscious, new commands into my subconscious before sleep and while I slept. And I actually turned that into a pretty awesome subliminal sleep system. It's called Sleep and Get Rich. And if you want to check that out, it's one of the best tools to start to reshape your financial world. It's pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. It's jakeducey.com/sleep. It's my subliminal sleep audio system that helps you fall asleep quicker and faster. And while you're asleep, it is designed with the latest advances in neuroscience to start to reprogram your mind while you are actually asleep. And you take advantage of the best time of the day to do that. And it's called Sleep and Get Rich. You can check it out pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. And now that you understand how you control your own financial future, this leads us into the third major evil that you've been programmed with. That your desire for wealth and big money is wrong. You shouldn't want it at all in the first place, right? That's the way we're programmed. Just be happy with what you got. But let me ask you, would you have a Harley Davidson motorcycle in your garage if you didn't believe that it was important? No, you wouldn't have it, right? If you thought that fast food was bad, would you eat it every day? Probably not. If you unconsciously believed that it was bad to have a lot of money and be successful, would you be rich and successful? No, of course you would not be. It would be impossible. And when I finally discovered how many unhealthy and destructive money beliefs that I had, I realized that if I wanted my dreams to come true, I had to consciously choose wealth. Now, if that's you and you feel guilty, and you're like, well, there's starving children in Africa. Can you help starving children in Africa if you're poor? If somebody else is sick, can you get more sick and make them better? Or if you have a friend that's depressed, is the way that you help them going, yeah, I'm depressed too, this sucks? No, it's actually the opposite. You help more people when you get into prosperity. And so what I invite you to do is think about all the reasons why money is good. Think about all the good you can do. Think about everything. And think about this. I believe in a higher power. You can call it whatever. You can call it anything you want. Alan Watts says you can't get wet by the word water. So you can call this higher power God. You can call it Frank. You can call it Susie. Or you can call it Spirit. Doesn't matter. I believe that it created everything. And I believe that it also created money and all the things that money can buy. Traveling around the world, living in the mountains in your beautiful home, having the freedom to homeschool your children, whatever it is that you want. Now, if it created you and you're a divine being, then wouldn't it just be natural for you to have prosperity so you can live the fullest expression of your divine nature? That's what I believe. And I believe you're a divine being too, and that you deserve to have prosperity as well. But you have to make a choice. You have to decide that money is good and that you will have it. And when that shift occurs, you will realize that all of the illusions from the grand puppeteers are just that, illusions. And that you are the only one that controls your destiny. So my friend, I invite you to comment down below which of these three main negative financial beliefs has been controlling your life. And take action. It's one thing to hear this. It's another thing to take the next step and start to reprogram your mind. And that's why I created Sleep and Get Rich. It's the easiest time to reprogram your mind. It doesn't take effort because your brainwaves naturally move into a state of hypnosis where you can have direct access to reprogram it without hours and hours and hours of effort. So check out Sleep and Get Rich. It's jakeducey.com/sleep, pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, I have another awesome video from a wonderful woman that I use as proof that shared her success story of how she recently and quickly attracted an extra $2,500. I'll link it right over here so you can watch that now. If you enjoy this video, give me a comment right there down below that says, I love this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe, bell notification, and check out Sleep and Get Rich, the best sleep system to reprogram your mind and turn it into a magnet for financial success.